Man, you could tack that girl. Woo. She need to drink. She need to drink a bag of sea moss today, like every day, until she start going to the
Well,
bathroom.
I told her to go get a series
Hold on.
of salami. I told her,
Someone's in already. Who's?
oh, what's this?
I had went ahead to start so that I can
Oh,
turn the stuff
they
over to
certified
Lori.
trichologist on there. Who is certified trichologist?
I don't know. Well,
Oh,
how
that's
you
a.
doing?
Hey.
Oh, I think that's certified. I think that's that.
I don't know.
What's her name? Is her name Wilma or Wilfred out of New York or somewhere up there? Maybe. You could go ahead and put something in the chat. Tell us where you're from. Thank you for joining.
Yes. Who are you? Tell
Yeah.
me who you are. Deborah Wilson.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
I said Wilfred. From New York. Thank you.
Welcome.
Glad.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, glad to have you. We will be starting shortly.
Lori, you have the control, so you're
I
in
have the
charge.
controls.
You
Oh
got the control.
no.
Who you have? But Kimmy, you had the video though.
Huh? Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still doing that.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Ah. Kimmy, where you go? What happened to you? Oh.
Yeah. All right. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and.
Should I be trying to get ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it take a little while to go live. So, and I'm
Okay.
gonna go ahead and pull up the
Oh no! What is this? Kimmy, it brought up the Zoom. Let me see. Let me just try it. I don't know.
You mean the Zoom?
You don't have permission to live stream.
Why?
Maybe I have to do you.
You don't?
No, I'm saying I don't. What in the world? Okay, here, wait a minute. Let's see. Live on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Nope. The Zoom box comes up and tells me to sign in.
Sign in as me.
And then I don't have permission. Okay, let's see. Oh Lord. Okay. What is this? No. Okay. Hold on. Even when we tried, shoot, at Gmail.
Hi, Jennifer. We'll move you over once we do the introduction. Did you log in as me?
I gotta do the password. I don't know that. Hold on. I'm looking real quick.
Oh, let me text it.
I got it from when you did it before, but
I'm sending it now just in case.
okay. Hun, did you just turn? Okay, thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, but it's bothers missing. Okay, you don't care.
1 minute.
It's Advanced Hair Growth Clinic, right?
Advanced Hair Growth Clinic NC@gmail.com.
Yeah, I got that. Okay. Ay, ay, ay. Okay.
Once 7 o'clock hits, I'm going to start the video and you just keep working on it, Lori.
Okay.
It's 7.
So now when I,
Hmm?
okay, I'm gonna go out and come back in. Hold on. It's live on Facebook. Okay.
Dana, let me know when Lori comes back in because she said she's going to go out. I can't see anymore because I got the share screen up.
Okay, all right.
No, I'm still here. It's Facebook is coming up.
Okay, so I'm going to go
No.
ahead and start while you're working on the Facebook then because it's 7.
Okay.
But it's not gonna show up
Um,
when you do that, Kimmy. It won't.
Welcome to What We Know Now Wednesdays, myths, truths, and solutions about hair loss with Dana Wilson, Lori Huckabee, and Tamima Ali, the hair advocates.
Hi, everybody. We're coming.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, we back again. We're back again.
Mhm.
Hold on. I'm coming.
But you keep working on it because it's a delay anyway by the time Facebook gets it. So, and we can always just upload the video if we got too many problems with it now.
I love that music. Every time I hear that music, I get all fired up again. Like we just got started.
I'll be over here dancing in the background.
And what's your
Mhm.
name again, Lori, who made that video for us?
Oh, Xavier Woodbury, my
Xavier
nephew.
Woodbury. Thanks for him for doing that video for us.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah. How's it going, Lori?
I think this is coming now. I'm doing it live.
All right, so we should get started with our introductions and
Yes. Hey, everybody.
keep going.
My name is Dana Wilson. I'm of Hair Cares Inc. I'm located in Hopewell, Virginia. I am a certified trichologist and a Sister-Like master trainer and consultant of over 20 plus years. And I'm also a city certified research assistant as well. I'm so happy to be here. My personal and professional mission in regards to being on this show is to encourage people who are experiencing hair loss or some sort of scalp disorder that you don't have to suffer in silence, that there is solutions and treatments for you. And so that's why I'm part of the show. I want to share those things with you. So thanks for being here.
Hello, everyone. I am Kimra Tamima Ali, certified trichologist in Charlotte, North Carolina. I am with Advanced Hair Growth Clinic, and I get to the root of your hair loss or scalp disorder. My goal is to help as many people as possible to look and feel beautiful. Let me help you be your most healthy self.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lori Huckabee, and I'm located in Hampton Roads area of Virginia. I'm a certified trichologist, licensed cosmetologist, and cosmetology instructor. I am passionate about what I do, which is I help people to revive and renew their scalp health and to restore and regrow their hair. And welcome to the show.
Perfect. Perfect.
I don't know what's happening.
So as a group, we're called the Hair Advocates. The whole reason we created this show is so that we can bring awareness to trichology. Also, we want to dispel myths and truths around hair loss, and then also share advancements and treatments for hair loss. So that's how we designed or created what we know now. And I don't even know what episode this is, but we really do try to bring guests on to share about what they know about hair loss. And today, is our guest here yet?
Yes, she's
Okay,
here.
Yes.
perfect. Our guest today, oh, let me get her bio. I'm lost with my information here. It's Jennifer.
It's not working.
Okay.
No worries, no worries. No worries. Just take your time. Jennifer Raikes, is that how we pronounce her name? Lauren Raikes. She is
Raikes.
Rakes. Okay. She is the executive director of TLC Foundation for Body Focused Repetitive Behaviors, which this is really interesting. She's going to be talking, and our topic for today is trichotillomania, which is really, really interesting disorder. And so we're so excited about having her here and explaining to what that really is and what kind of support is around this particular disorder. Thank you for being here with us, Jennifer.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Great.
I'm excited.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, hey,
Hi, Jennifer.
hi, Kimra. So great to see all of you and be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Please tell us more about yourself. I know I didn't do justice at all.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so I grew up having the disorder that you're talking about, trichotillomania, which is the compulsion to pull out your hair. And it's a Greek word, so trick is hair, as you guys know, as trichologists, and then obviously the tillo is to pull, and mania, really doesn't mean that we're crazy. I know we use the term that way, but it was coined that way to mean something that was just out of control, that was sort of beyond our control. So anyway, I grew up with this. There's various forms you can have. People can pull their hair from their head, which is the most common place, but really any hair on your body might be affected. So my personal thing was that I would pull my eyelashes and my eyebrows out. So I spent my childhood
doing that, Jennifer. When did you start doing that?
Yeah, problems tend to start in like childhood or right around puberty. They can start as a baby. They can start as, we see kids as young as 1 and 2 years old. And it can start later in life as well. But the most common age is right around puberty. And that was true for me. I was around 9, 10 years old when I started.
Okay. Wow. And so you're the executive director of TLC?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. So so the TLC Foundation for Body Focused Repetitive Behaviors is, which we just call TLC because that's such a mouthful, is really the advocacy organization for trichotillomania, and also there are a bunch of related problems. Whether you pick skin instead of pulling hair, you might be picking at your skin. That's called skin picking disorder. Or sometimes people will do things, like maybe bite their nails really severely, or chew on the inside of their cheeks, or bite on their lips, or pick their nose. There's all kinds of these sort of self-directed, picky pulley behaviors that we try to help with. So we're a nonprofit. We're not a clinic. We don't provide treatment.
Okay.
But we basically provide information, and we train clinicians, psychologists, how to treat these disorders. And we also fund research and help sort of organize research studies so that we can get better answers about them.
Okay, okay. Do you mind sharing how this manifested with you?
Not at all. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't really know why it started. And that's true of these disorders. Like, we don't fully know why people
Okay.
have them. We do know that they are at least partly genetic, that they run in families. And that was true in my family as well. Um, but we didn't really kind of realize that because my mom had had the same problem, but she'd had it sort of mildly and nobody thought of it as a disorder at the time. So when I started really having like no eyelashes or eyebrows when I was a little kid, my family was definitely very upset and alarmed and, you know, worried about it, thinking that I must be really unhappy and sort of, you know, harming myself, which really wasn't the case. Yeah, so anxiety can be a big part of it, and I definitely had anxiety. But it isn't always. Sometimes people do it when they're kind of bored or sedentary, like watching TV or reading a book or talking on the phone, those kinds of like activities where your mind is busy maybe, but your body isn't busy, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one thought we have is that maybe humans aren't really built for that, that we're used, you know, that like historically we would have been more physically active and not always just sitting around at a computer or in front of a book or whatever. And so maybe
for myself, if I'm sitting still, I'm twiddling my hair. I mean, I may be me not pulling it, but I'm definitely doing something to it.
yeah, we're really fidgety creatures, or at least certainly my family is. Yeah.
So once your family got concerned, what was the next course of action from there?
So, you know, I grew up a while ago now. So, I mean, the course of action was my mom did bring me to a therapist.
Okay.
But at the time, these were not known behaviors. And so while the therapist was lovely to talk to and probably did make me feel a little bit just better about myself, it didn't solve the problem at all.
Okay.
And you know, and so I just kind of, we came up with sort of self-help ways of coping. And sometimes it comes and goes. And so for me in my life, the severity of it has come and gone over time. Yeah, so I mean, so it wasn't until my early 20s when my mom found an article about the TLC Foundation, which I now am the executive director of. But back then, I was just someone needing help, and so that was the beginning of my journey to learning. Like, oh my goodness, you know, it's not just my little family that does this. Like, this is not just me. This is a real problem, a real actual diagnosis, and that honestly, that made me feel a lot better.
Just the idea that this disorder is, I mean, that you can get triggered at any time. So do you still pull?
I do a bit. I have had a lot of recovery, so I can definitely be a hopeful voice for people out there listening who might be still struggling with this. You know, recovery is possible. And there are lots of things that we can talk about that help, but it can be a struggle. We don't have like clear-cut answers. I can't tell you exactly why I've gotten better. I did get involved and start a support group that met for 10 years. And I attended that weekly for 10 years, and it was really helpful. That sounds like a big commitment, but I'll tell you, it was actually very enjoyable and fun. I made a lot of friends. It wasn't like a bad thing to have to do for so long. And our organization does facilitate now a lot of online support groups. So people that are looking for help can find it, even though we all can't meet in person these days. That is a good source of help. But yeah, so I would say in general for me, the things that I think helped other than perhaps luck were that kind of becoming much more aware of my behavior. I don't know if you have experienced this with like fiddling or similar problems, but one phenomenon that I had, and that's pretty common, is that I would spend a lot of time pulling with, like, not even really realizing I was doing it.
Right.
Or I'd sort of in and out realize, and, you know, I'd realize and I'd sit on my hand and then, you know, and then it would just come back up. And, and I'd realize again, but I would spend hours, especially when I was young, I could spend hours doing it and not really know that I was in that deep. And as I sort of talked about it more, and especially on a weekly basis, I had to really think about, am I doing this? When am I doing it? All of that that exercise really helped just make me aware of what my patterns were. And I started to know when I wasn't spending hours, not even realizing I was doing it. I would start to catch myself much sooner, which was a helpful part of recovery.
So a part of this, so what do you offer in regards to the support?
Sure. What our organization offers in the way of support, well, a lot of things. One thing that started over the past year, really, during the pandemic, was online support groups. So there are a lot of them. And if you go to our website, which is bfrb.org, so bfrb.org, you can see the schedule of them and sign up, and they're free. So we have them for different affinity groups, whether it's for kids or teenagers, parents, men. We just started a group for women over 50, because when you've been doing it often for 30 years, your experience is a little different than if you're, a young woman just starting out, or younger woman, I should say. And so we offer a lot of online support groups. Sometimes we do hangouts where it's not even a formal support group. It's just a chance to just convene. We hold events. So we hold webinars and like educational events. So that's more sort of information and healing opportunities. And then in normal years, we hold live events, in-person events, like a conference, and usually some local events throughout the country. But this year we're going to be holding a virtual conference in April 8th to the 11th.
Oh, 8th to the 11th.
Yeah, so April 8th through the 11th, we'll be having an online virtual conference we're expecting hundreds of people to attend. Usually our in-person conference is attended by about 500 people. I wouldn't be surprised if that, possibly even doubles, because it's just so much easier to attend a virtual event.
What does that look like, Jennifer? The conference? Who's there? What kind of stuff could we see?
Such a good question. Yeah. So we try to serve a really broad audience. So, and that's actually one of the things that I really love about our conference is it's a mix of people who are living with these disorders. So it could be kids and their parents, it's adults, it's, so it's people of all ages and all backgrounds that are living with these disorders. But then it's also clinicians, treatment providers who are, interested in treating it or learning how to treat it. Or who just have grown to care about it a lot because they treat it. And researchers, sometimes those are the same people, clinicians and researchers, but so people that are doing research and helping advance the science of understanding why we do these things and how to stop. And then also there's often, especially hair and skin care, experts as well, and people like you, like trichologists, who come both to sometimes share their talents. If it's an in-person event, we usually have an area where people can get their hair and skin cared for. So that's often one of the really fun things that's there, because a lot of people, I'm sure you guys have experienced, but a lot of people with these disorders do not go get haircuts, or really, worried about it because they may have had a bad experience, feeling embarrassed at a salon. I've heard some very, some stories of some really unthinking, salons where they kind of call people, look at this spot, or, and so people have had some really bad experiences. And, we spend a lot of time like crafting our hairdos and our makeup so that we can hide the problem. And then even in a good salon, you're going to have your hair washed. All your hiding is, you can't hide. So,
I have a question for you, Jennifer. So if you get a diagnosis, what does that do for the individual with getting the diagnosis?
Well, if you get an actual diagnosis from a like a clinician who's able to provide a diagnosis, I mean, that helps you in a few ways. It may help you to just know what you have and know that it's, like for me, it was very shame alleviating. And there's a lot of shame around these disorders. So just knowing like, hey, this is an actual disorder. It's not my fault.
Right.
It's not something that I should just be able to stop on my own. I need help. I can get help, but it's a thing. That in itself is really helpful. And then obviously having an actual diagnostic code is then also helpful if you're needing to get treatment, because your insurance company is going to need to know what you're getting treatment for. And also it can be helpful if you're a student and need accommodations at school. So then you can qualify for an IEP perhaps, so that just to allow simple things like wearing a hat. A lot of schools, they don't allow you to wear hair coverings or a hat. And some kids need to in order to feel like they can get through the day, or because it will be a barrier, to their doing the behavior. So things like that, the getting a diagnosis is important for.
I was just thinking, it puts me in the mind. I have a son who's on the spectrum. And so he receives ABA, Applied Behavioral Analysis. And I was just wondering if having that diagnosis would also allow you to get treatment with that, because it deals with repetitive behavior and like, analyzing the behavior, finding out the triggers for certain things, and then like redirecting the behavior. So if you're, picking a certain area, obviously being conscious that you're picking it and then redirecting, like you say, you put your hands under your your legs or something. It allows the person to analyze why the person's doing what they're doing, what is triggering them to do it, and then can you redirect the behavior to something else that might be positive.
Yeah.
So just wondering if that diagnose help or help with treatment, and then also is that person also part of your conference that you're having, so ABA person?
I mean, that's an excellent question, and I don't know a lot about that, which is surprising to me because that sounds exactly like that does sound like a therapy that would be very helpful to a person with any kind of BFRB. But I don't know a lot about it, so I can't say specifically. But I mean, I would say in general that the conference is it's the place really the event to have almost all the world's experts in one place. So it's just, if you're trying to learn about this, if you're suffering from this, or if you're interested in helping people who have it, it's definitely the place to come, because just everyone is there. It's it's just a wonderful gathering of everyone who's interested in this field, or almost everyone. And I should mention too that if Spanish is your primary language, the whole conference will be translation will be available, and we also offer a lot of Spanish language support groups, and most of our website is translated into Spanish. So for anyone who knows someone where they really need resources in Spanish, that's also an option.
Oh, that's so cool. It sounds like it's going to be a good time.
Thank you. Yes, I think we're going to find a way to make the virtual experience of it still really intimate and fun, just like this like discussion right now feels. Because in person, especially those of us who grew up with this and can look back on our childhoods feeling a little sad sometimes about how we experience this disorder alone. It's always inspiring to see the kids who come to the conference, because they often make friends and they start running around the hotel in a pack, and really you hear a lot of laughter and just bonding and hugs, and they'll when it's in a hotel, they'll go swim in the hotel pool together, which is something, again, just like a hair salon, that people are often very hesitant to do. But I think we're gonna recreate a lot of chances for, bonding just virtually. And then next year, hopefully we'll all be able to get together in person again.
That's really good. And I'm sure that it really helps parents as well. A lot of parents, that have children with the disorder, to find a place to share, their experience as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I know, as you said, as a mom of a kid on the spectrum, you may have needed that yourself. So, but we definitely find that the parents are, often suffering in some ways even more than their kids. It's, we worry so much about our kids. We just want them to be happy. And so sometimes, especially with the FRBs, the parents may actually be even more upset about it than their child, because they can kind of picture the social consequences and just worry about them in a way that sometimes, especially younger kids, aren't yet there. So they may not be caring even as much as their parents. But
so how did your mom navigate this, trying to find you help? I wonder, it would be an interesting conversation to have.
Yeah. My mom, I guess I was lucky. My mom was definitely a believer in therapy.
Okay.
So, which, again, for the time period of the 70s and 80s when I was growing up was, that was becoming more common, but it wasn't necessarily quite. Nowadays, I feel like one of the good things that's happened is there's a lot growing, comfort with talking about mental health problems. And, I'm really grateful for that, because the shame and the isolation around these problems is often the worst part of them.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, she found me a therapist, but yeah, it was really, she felt a lot of because we didn't have answers, she felt to blame for the problem. She felt like, my child is doing this. She must be really unhappy. I must be, somehow responsible for her being unhappy. And, sure, I had stresses and all, but it wasn't anything that, the fact that my body and my brain responded to my environment with this particular behavior had, I think, probably a lot to do with my genetics. And I see that because my mom, my sister, and now my own children, we all have it. Okay. So it's in the family, and it's in a lot of families. I don't know if I've even started citing any stats, but we know like at least 1 in 50 people have trichotillomania. And if you start bringing in skin picking and other behavior, 1 in 20 people. So this is definitely nothing to be ashamed of. Like you're not alone,
And so I'm assuming that the picking also could cause some permanent hair loss, because you're doing it in that one particular area all the time. I'm assuming that there's some scarring that's happening as well, where the hair don't come back at all.
Yeah, that can be the case. And obviously that's something that, like, those of us who pull hair are usually terrified about. Right. And I will say that, like, what we've seen is that when you pull, if you're just pulling the hair out, sort of by the root, it is pretty resilient and it tends to grow back for so if you're young and you're doing it, right, if you're able to reduce your pulling or even stop your pulling, your hair is going to come back, almost certainly. But if you pull for decades, because it does tend to be a chronic, lifelong problem unless you're able to find ways to help yourself, it does get more likely that you may have permanent hair loss. And another interesting phenomenon, guys, I would turn to you guys as the experts here, is that one thing we've noticed is that sometimes too, when hair grows back, it'll grow back a different texture than it was. So if you have like straightish hair like mine, it might grow back really kinky. And sometimes it grows back, and we don't know, that may not last, but it at least initially grows back that way often. And another thing is that sometimes it'll grow back without pigment, so it'll grow back white. Gotcha. And then it seems like maybe the color follicle, wake up again, and so you'll see that like the tip is white, but then the color starts to come back if you give it time.
Mhm.
So yeah, so there's a lot there's a lot of interesting information about hair that you start to learn when you work in this field.
That's really interesting. Yeah. So mine initially is applied behavior analysis, and also a BCBA is a board certified behavioral analyst, and they deal with these kinds of behavior, repetitive behavior, and like looking at the triggers and trying to come up with redirecting the behavior in some kind of positive way. I
Yeah,
would definitely look at one of those individuals for your conference.
I definitely will look into that. I'm so glad you're bringing it up, because I think those the category of therapists that seems to work the most are cognitive behavioral therapists in the field.
Yeah.
But what you're describing really are the basis of the treatment. It's really like understanding what that individual's patterns and triggers are, and they can be various. No, it's not one stop, one size fits all at all. You know, what that particular individual's patterns are, and then coming up with often creative ways to redirect or satisfy whatever that need is that's causing the person to pull. If it's an emotional thing going on, if it's just an interest in texture, you know, sensory things, because sometimes there's a lot of like feeling around for a particular hair. You know, some people have, you know, people have all kinds of dialogues in their heads while you're looking for, you know, one that's more thick or more coarse or more curly. People often pull them out and then they look at the root of the hair. That's another thing that seems to fascinate people.
Okay.
And they might touch it on their lips or play with it a bit. Sometimes people ingest the hairs.
I've heard that.
Yeah, and that I should just bring that up as a special category. It's not uncommon. And it's obviously like if you're embarrassed about pulling your hair, you're probably like this much more embarrassed about eating your hair.
Yes.
But sometimes people will just chew on it and like sort of spit it out or maybe bite the root off. That's not a big deal, you know, in terms of your health or your safety. But you're actually ingesting hair that is actually quite dangerous. It can form basically a hairball. It's called a trichotillomania in your stomach or intestine, but probably mostly in your stomach. And that can cause, you know, severe problems that will require surgery. And so that is one aspect. If you're going to tackle any part of your problem, tackling the eating, if you're ingesting hair, that's the part you want to tackle first. And if you are doing that, or if you're a parent of a child who's doing that, you want to be monitoring that. We do have a brochure written specifically for doctors, so that parents can take it to their doctor to help give them some guidance as to how to know when they might need to do a scan of the stomach, or you know, what kind of interventions might be necessary if the child is eating their hair, or the adult for that matter. So anyway, I'm glad you sort of had that. I'm glad we went on that tangent, because I'm not sure I would have thought to mention that, but that's an important health you know, aspect of this to understand.
Sure, because it has to, I mean, it will mess with the gut. I mean,
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Hair is not digestible, so it sits there and it's not healthy if it's not able to pass, you know, through your system. Yeah.
So are you finding with your foundation with supporting a lot of children early on that they, I guess the statistics or the stats on how it reduces the behavior by having that support system while they're young versus later on?
Yeah. So unfortunately, this whole field, the research is, you know, really limited. I mean, that is one of the things that our foundation's working on. But we are encouraged that we see signs that behavior therapy can be actually particularly effective in young kids. Like when your brain is still, you know, just so malleable, you can it's easier to learn new patterns and to sort of break habits. You know, it's not like a habit in the sense of, oh, it should be easy to stop, but break these sort of repetitive patterns more easily. And certainly, just anecdotally, I'll say, I mean, it's clear that I've been I've lived with this my whole life, or pretty much my whole life. And I've been part of TLC now for 25 years.
Okay.
So I can say that I've just seen this phenomenal difference between the young people that are learning almost immediately that this behavior they've just started is a thing and it's nothing to be ashamed of, and there's help available and it's not their fault. The amazing difference that makes in their lives than people that were like living with this as their biggest secret. And often, I mean, I've known people that their whole career has gotten derailed because they're trying to hide this problem.
Wow.
They may not even feel comfortable. They may not feel lovable because of, I mean, again, I'm sure this extrapolates to a lot of overall hair loss issues that you guys see. But there's something about it being your fault, feeling like it's your fault, that adds so much shame. And so people will often not tell their closest loved ones what's going on. They spend a lot of time hiding, and may not even tell their spouse, or they may not date, or they may not even enter into relationships because they feel like they can't share this secret. So I'm so glad that we're starting to really tackle that. And that's why, like, talks like this are so important, because you just get the word out about it. Even if you just know you're not alone, it can really improve the course of your life.
Sure. I've only experienced maybe 2 clients with this disorder, and they just shared with me because they had a permanent spot, permanent hair loss in that one area, and they and for both of them, they had different, obviously everybody had their own story, and for both of them though, somehow or another they was able to redirect the behavior into something else. So like every time they thought about picking, they pick up a piece of candy, or
I could lead to other problems, but yes.
yeah, they created something else.
Yeah, I knew someone who tried that with cigarettes. She's like, now I'm pulling my hair and smoking. It's not a good combination.
Oh,
Right.
oh.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, Lori and Kimmy, have you had this experience with a few clients?
Yes, I have. I had about, what was it, 3 clients that had it. And I think, like you say, because they were older, for sure they didn't have nearly the support that's out here. They would have been some of the ones who were shamed, so probably never sought help for it, Um, and they too have permanent from wherever they were picking those areas. If they're not completely bald, they're really, really sparse.
Yeah.
Yeah, really sparse because um, they just didn't have that. They had to learn, like you say, learn on their own how to redirect because they didn't have any therapy for that.
Yeah. And I'll say, as a parent, it's I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but
No, go ahead.
you realize, like, it's true. Like, kids, if you're growing up and your parents don't have the information and you don't have the information, it's so natural as a parent to just think that you can either like scold or punish the kid into stopping, I mean, it's how we treat, bad behavior, right? We think, well, I'll set rules, and if you break the rule, you'll be punished. And so a lot of the times that's instinctively how parents deal with these, with pulling or picking behaviors. And unfortunately, it's just not effective. The kid just, those of us who have it, we can't stop. We don't want to be doing it.
Right.
It can be complicated, just like, I don't know, overeating can be complicated. Like, you don't want to overeat, but you also might be getting something from it in the moment that you're doing it. It might taste good or feel good. And for me, that's a pretty good analogy with hair pulling and skin picking, even though they sound like they should hurt and feel horrible. They actually kind of feel good when you're doing them, for most of us. And so that can make it all the more complicated to stop, because while you're doing it, you're enjoying it. But like the moment you stop, you feel horrible and you regret it. And so anyway, that's just to sort of like reassure parents, if you have sort of tried to, if you've reacted by trying to tell your kid, just stop it, control yourself. That's a completely natural and normal way to react, but it isn't going to be helpful to your child. And you do need to figure out a different way to help support them in using the tools that help them, but not shame them when they can't succeed at that.
Yeah, I have not encountered this in my clinic. However, that doesn't mean that in the future I won't. So you had mentioned earlier about brochures. Is there a way that we can get brochures so I can be like ready for them if someone was to come in here, that I can point them in the direction of support?
Yes, you absolutely can. Again, at our website, bfrb.org, we do, you can also email us at info@bfrb.org and request brochures. We have them specifically for hair salons or hair providers. So as well as for other, for other audiences, but yes, you absolutely can. And I think that would be great to sort of, because I have found that once you start talking about this, you're going to find it's out there.
Yeah.
It's just that people don't talk about it. But the minute you open the floodgates and start talking about it, you're going to realize so many people who have this problem.
Right. Or be more open to ask the question. Obviously when we have potential clients walking in the door, you'll be more aware of the disorder, so you're able to ask the question if something the stories doesn't add up, on why hair. Yeah.
Or even if you have brochures like out, it might prompt, then a person might say, oh my, because often your client, part of the thing is that those of us who are doing it don't know that it's, a thing, that it's a disorder.
That it has a name.
Yeah, that it has a name. We don't have the language, and we're embarrassed. And it's just, when you don't know that help is out there, it somehow stops you from looking for help. Like so often I found that people haven't even sort of Googled or, looked, because it just doesn't occur to them that there might be help out there for this specific problem. Right. So again, it's the power of just
and they probably think that other people don't know about it. Like why go to the hair salon, because they have no idea, and most of them don't, are not educated about it, or they could be feeling some kind of way about that too.
Yeah, and often they're right. Often, unfortunately, you do have to be your own educated advocate when you have this, and that's true of a lot of problems out there. But you have to know, like, if you're seeking treatment, you need to know what good treatment should look like, because you may well wind up at a therapist who actually doesn't know very much, and they may act like they know a lot, but they may not. And so you really need to be able to recognize that, are they telling me correct information, or are they a little off? Like, do they have old information? Are they mistaking this for another problem like self-harm, where people, are cutting themselves? Right. Or OCD is another one that I think they might be like cousin disorders, they're not the same disorder. And so you don't want the exact same treatment. It's not going to help you.
Yeah, that's why I was asking you, Jennifer, what does the diagnosis do for the individual? What is the benefit to have something concrete? Because a diagnosis is everything. Then you can go and get the correct treatment, or your insurance is able to pay to direct you to the right place.
That's right. And it can be really, I wish I could paint a rosier picture, but it really can be hard to find the right help for this problem. There are not that many people that specialize in treating it and who have been trained in how to treat it. Again, we're trying to solve all these problems. We're trying to train more clinicians and get more people aware. But right now, we do offer on our website, another resource that we offer is a referral. So we have referrals.
Oh,
so
good.
Yeah, and so we have referrals to treatment, to clinicians like therapists, but we also have referrals to hair and skin providers who are knowledgeable about this, just who have let us know that they're knowledgeable about the disorder. Not to say they're trying to provide treatment, but that they can provide a salon atmosphere that is supportive and helpful and will help you look good on the road to recovery instead of, you know, feeling too scared to even go get your hair done. So
we've created some safe spaces.
That's
Yes.
right. Yeah. And also referrals to support groups so that when we're able to meet in person again, there are in-person support groups in many towns. But that said, it can be really hard to find the right therapist and also sometimes very expensive. And so figuring out, you know, getting information, we can help you with information about how to fight your insurance company if you need them to provide out of network help.
Right.
They do have to, if they don't have someone in the network who is an appropriate treatment provider. I mean, this doesn't go just for BFRBs, this is true of other disorders, but if they don't have the right person, you can push them, and they are supposed to provide you with out-of-network care if they can't provide appropriate in-network care. But again, it's going to take, like, you know, a lot of your energy and work to make it happen. And so sometimes therapists will also offer sliding scales, but you have to kind of know to ask.
Now, the foundation, do you have a membership? Or how is this set up?
How are we set up? Yeah. We are funded almost entirely by donations from people, from families that are suffering with these disorders and want better answers. And we also, the membership that we have is for either clinicians or salons and hair and skincare providers. They can have memberships, and then you can get a listing on our website as part of the referral network, and get a constant flow of information from us so that you're up to date in the field. But for sort of the person who's suffering, they don't have to become a member. They just can come to our site and get help. Some of the events that we hold, there's a fee. You know, if it's like a 6-week, webinar series, there's going to usually be a fee. A lot of our offerings are free though. I mean, if you just go to our website, there's deep amount of information that's just there waiting for you.
Well, good on you for doing that, Jennifer, going from being a part of it, and then now you're the executive director. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I got in pretty deep.
Yeah, you got all the way in there with all your.
I got all the way in. In fact, so my previous life before I was doing this as a job, I was a documentary filmmaker, and so one of the free resources that you can find, even if you just Google the phrase, or you can also, I think it's linked from our website, is I did make a documentary about trichotillomania. So for anybody who's interested, it's about an hour long. It's called Bad Hair Life. And because we know having a bad hair day is not a trivial thing. It affects your whole sense of self, like how, I mean, obviously we want to believe in the inner, in inner beauty and not just outer beauty. But I'll tell you that, and I'm sure you guys agree, like how you feel about how you're looking and how, just really affects how you are then able to just step out and face the world.
To be in the world.
How you are in the world, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, Jennifer. We so appreciate it. The name of our show is What We Know Now, and we always end with our guests by asking them what they know now about hair loss, hair growth. What do you know now from your experience?
Well, oh my goodness, I don't even know where to start. What do I know now? I do know now that that there are a million ways to be beautiful and to feel good, and that that we don't, that fixating on just having to look a certain way or be healed emotionally in a certain way before I go out into the world is not, it's not a recipe for success, and I spent a lot of years doing that, feeling like, well, I can't be in a relationship with anybody until I've healed, until I've grown back my eyelashes and my eyebrows. Like I can't talk to anybody about this. I can't show this. And so I know now, because I've witnessed it in so many other brave people, that you absolutely can have all of these problems and be loved and successful at the same time and work towards healing them. You don't have to just say, well, I'm going to have them forever. But
Oh, that's great.
you can have everything that you really want out of life and still be struggling with some problems.
Because I think we all are, you know.
That's really the truth, right?
At the end of the day, we all are. Maybe hair is someone else's, you know, weight is somebody else's, drugs is somebody else. I mean, we all are dealing with something.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for Jennifer. Jennifer, for being here. We would love for you to hang out. If time is an issue, we understand. We're going to bring Dr. Scott in, right? Dr. Scott is our nutritionist, and she always shares some good tips on what you can eat to keep your hair, prevent hair loss, or maintain it. So you're more than welcome to stick around.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna listen in, but I'm gonna turn off my camera because I'm gonna have to start making dinner for my kids.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Jennifer.
you, Jennifer.
Thank you all. Thanks so much.
All right.
Thank you. Okay.
Dr. Scott.
Woohoo!
Hi, Dr. Scott.
Yo, wow, that was a lifetime of information, right? But look, we've got to find some solutions. So what can we do a little bit different just to change it just a little bit? So, you know, I'd be interested in what's going on in you guys' heads. You know what I'm saying? So I was just looking up, Googling a little bit to see who are the prime candidates. But let me tell you something funny right up front. I've had 4 serious relationships in my lifetime, and my second one, that husband would do this: twist, twist. He would twist this little spot of hair right here in the back by his ear. And at times I noticed there's no hair there. Why do you keep twisting that? You know? And I don't know, but he was the guy that loved a little bit too much sugar and probably weren't totally, and maybe not as many vegetables.
Oh, wow.
But guess what? Now that we're divorced, oh, he's got hair. Maybe I was the problem. I was running around. He was one of these slow, cool guys. He moved real slow. And I was like, he's like, whoa, this lady's driving me crazy. So, you know, he's just winding it up and wind it up. And then it would grow back. And then, you know, those were probably some of those times I was the busiest that it grew back, that he didn't have to pay attention. I was happy or something.
Yeah.
But, you know, so is it a DNA damage thing? And I was thinking, but then it seems like it's autoimmune. That's what it appears. Like the immune system has been working, trying to prevent it, trying to restore it. But if mom had the disorder, then the kid could have the disorder. But if grandma had it, then mom could have it. We all was eating the same way.
So Dr. Scott, Jennifer, our guest, she just put in the chat. Yes, we're very curious about the role of diet and things like sugar with these problems. So
it's huge with autoimmune diseases. And guess what? Nothing destroys the nerves worse or more than sugar.
Got it.
Okay? And sugar turns the body very acidic. And when I look at autoimmune diseases, who was the culprit? It was an acid pH created from having the diet be too much, too acidic. So I thought, well, let me grab my old water bottle here, and I'm gonna put some water in it. Look like it's standing up a little crooked here. Let me put it on here properly. Whoa. Okay, now, so the sugar is a big, huge problem. You know, I had a customer who his son had a tick. Yeah, he had attention deficit, hyperactivity, ADHD. You know what I'm saying? We solved it. We got him all the way through school, all the way through college. You know, a really good little thing with flaxseed because it is brain food. So the sugar works against the brain. The brain is fed from omega-3, and we have here too omega-7. Oh yes, omega-7. You know, when we say you fathead or whatever, that means that the brain is jelly. It needs everything but, I'm going to say, you don't want to put too much sugar or too much caffeine because it destroys the brain. So I brought brain food here. And one of the major ones that is a common thread here is lecithin. And so this is brain food, the omega-3. This is brain food, omega-7. But let me tell you a difference. This is a superfood. It has everything but vitamin C in it, flaxseed. This is like the best flaxseed in the world, people, this northern edge green. It's grown on soil northwest of that Poplar Valley area where there's no cadmium heavy metals in the soil. Okay, but that's omega-3. We import it into the US. This is omega-7. So if there's any damage that has been done in the body, omega-7, we heard about 3, 6, 9, but omega-7 goes out. Where's there any damages? You damaged something in the body, something is malfunctioning. You look at this baby, it's got all your minerals. C. buckthorn, SEABUCKTHORN, C. buckthorn. So we want the best flaxseed. This is a cold meal flaxseed, C. buckthorn. And let me get the water going because I always think, what happens? Now, what's going on with this water is that I've decided that we're going to put hydrogen infused in it. It makes the molecules tiny, 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 tiny. Okay. So then what are we going to do? I'm going to put something really weird in there. I would be willing to know that people who eat sugar tend not to eat the vegetables. So would anybody agree with me? They're eating less vegetables and more sugar. So what we're going to do here, we are going to empty out some green balance and alkalizing formula. And this is all the greens that we didn't eat and not going to eat it. So we can just take a capsule apart and just ease it, maybe even as a little seasoning on your food.
She's stuck. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. I think, yeah, Dr. Scott is frozen, but she's still here. She hasn't gone out yet. So technical difficulties, I tell you.
Technology is good when it works, right?
Yes.
That's what I say.
Yes. It's good when it works.
It's good when it works. Hopefully we can get her back.
She did get lost.
Yeah.
She got kicked off.
Yeah.
We do have a guest on. The other couple of guests, they dropped off, but Renee is still on. Renee, did you have any questions at all for like Jennifer or anything? I want to add anything.
And Renee is a
Have you had any clients?
I was just going to say, Renee is a trichologist. Have you had any clients that experienced that?
Had any clients?
No.
Okay.
Thanks for being here, Renee. We so appreciate it. There we go.
Doctor, there you go, Dr. Joy.
She said, oh.
Dr. Scott, you got to unmute yourself. You got to unmute yourself.
Okay.
So Renee did say she experienced 2 clients with the disorder.
Yeah.
Yes. She experienced 2 clients that was heavy.
One didn't believe in her methods. Were you able to help that person, Renee?
The other
The
one
other
who
person,
did?
the second person.
Well, also, Jennifer did mention that, we can get brochures so that you can definitely get them to some support.
Mhm.
So
Yes, be sure to go to their website. Like she said, they have a ton of information on there. That's very helpful.
Dr. Scott, you're muted.
You're muted. Dr. Scott, you have to unmute yourself.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So let's take a peek at this.
Okay.
Everybody loves limeade. Isn't that a pretty green? Is that green enough?
We missed
So
what you put in there.
What pill you put in there again?
But I put green balance. If
Okay.
I had to read it for you, it's got all your minerals. It's got alfalfa grass. It's got astragalus. It's got organic barley. It's got all these green things that's loaded with superfoods. It's right here in the capsule. So how many did I put in? I just put 1.
Okay.
And what is all you need? And it looks a nice little pretty green, not dark green. When you get too dark, people say, So now all we kind of need it to be is what? You're getting all your greens right here. And we put some monk fruit. What about some monk fruit? Or you could have put some honey.
Okay.
That
monk is like a sweetener.
It's a sweetener. It's a little bit like stevia, but it doesn't elevate your sugar at all. Well, and we're just gonna put the lid on it. Whoa. And just shake it up. And let's taste it real quick. And then I'm gonna show you another little way to get, It tastes wonderful. It does. So, and if I had a little lemon in there, it's like instant lemonade.
Okay.
So you just got all your vegetables you need. Let me see here. It says take 1 or 2 capsules twice a day. Oh, that's crazy. You could have put 2 in here, filled it all the way up, squeeze some lemon juice in here, and you had put you a 1 or 2 monk fruit. You got lemonade. You couldn't get enough of that.
Right.
Now, let me show you something else. We're gonna go do this flaxseed.
And Dr. Scott, so that would have been good. That would help with what? I mean, I know you're getting all your vegetables.
Alkalize the system, but greens, you know what greens do? They feed the nerves. They feed that nerve. That's what they do. And so we gotta feed these nerves, and the nerve, the brain is a huge nerve, and we have to alkalize the body. So this peel, it tells you right here, it's an alkalizing blend. Anything green alkalize your system. Why do you get autoimmune diseases? The body is too acidic. It's like one of your ex-classmates had lupus, and what did we do? We just fed her vegetables, all the vegetables right here. You don't want to go through all this tough stuff. Dana is not going to go through all this thing of feeding her son these green vegetables. So how do you get him to do this? Come into limeade. We call it, instead of lemon, we're going to get some lime. It looks like lime is in it. It tastes like lime is in it. Oh, it must be limeade then. So that's what that's what this looks like. And it's a real cool look. It's not dark green. Make it dark green. Ooh, that must be vegetables. Okay. Yes, so we're not doing that. So here's this one. They kind of attached it to a little bit of ADHD. So I just put 2 tablespoons of flaxseed here. And I'm gonna now put in some flaxseed milk. Some flaxseed milk. Wow, that's interesting now. I'm gonna take the old stir and stir it up. Now, if this was a little sweet, it might go down, but it wouldn't go down with a person who may have that texture problem to go with it. You think that might be a chance of those two being in the same place? Likely, okay? But the flaxseed has omega-3. The flaxseed has omega-3. And the flaxseed milk, this is flaxseed milk. That tastes good, okay? We just gotta get them looking at the omegas. That's what makes the brain. The brain is a big nerve. And so what happens? The green drink turns the body alkaline, and we get all our vegetables. Like a B complex, it totally feeds your body. Calm it down. Anxiety. Let's talk about anxiety real quick, since we know we don't have so much time. Let me tell you. So if you know anybody that's like totally depressed, get some B3, that whole B complex. Go get one of those super powerful B complex. It'll calm you down. But if you could just get one, it's called niacin B3, and take loads of it, like 500 milligrams a day. It will leave you, I tell you, 2 days and it's gone. You haven't combed your hair in weeks, months, and you take B3, niacin, and you're getting up, washing your hair, blow drying it, throwing it up, taking a bath, going to the computer, let me enroll for this school, let me put an application in here. I think I've got a hairstylist out in Durham, North Carolina, or Raleigh, and she said the girl was at her house. She weren't getting off the couch. We came up with this formula, B3, and some calcium and vitamin C. C gets all the stress off. That B3, your brain is like, oh, poor me. And in 2 days, girlfriend was out, and it's amazing. So now look, but here's this one right here. I just recently turned a girl onto it. Ashwagandha. Have you heard of ashwagandha?
I have not.
Yes.
Okay. Hey,
Yes.
this is your newest best friend. Write this down now. You might want to go say, Dr. Joy, hey, look, can you be kind to me? Drop me one in the mail tomorrow. Okay? Yes, ma'am. I'll do it just for you, Dana. So you got to read about it. It's a thing that helps you relax. See, and it calms you. It gets rid of all that little anxiety and all of it now. You know how you want to bite people's heads off? Oh yeah, this is the answer. So let me spell it for you. Ashwagandha. You just want to get to the point you could even say the word. It's an adaptogen. It just calms you down. It's ASHWAGANDHA. So let me spell it a little bit different so you can catch up with it. Ashwa, ASHWAGANDHA. Ashwagandha. Okay. And so do your little research. You want to know about this one. It is going to cool you out. And if you have a husband, you will be so grateful. You can tolerate him and every request he asks of you anymore. Okay. So we got ashwagandha, like my bottle here. You find out, you said, send me another bottle. I lost that bottle. Actually, you didn't lose it, but that's what happened. Okay. Now, what else? We need brain food and we need alkalizing food. So Okay, let's get this straight now. We need lecithin for this brain, along with the omega-3 and the omega-7. Where do we find lecithin for the brain? The brain is a big nerve. How can we repair it? You know, they tell you can't repair nerve damage, right? Here is lecithin, Lecithin. Yeah, you think. Now, that ends with thin. Oh, yeah, you can lose a little weight too, you know, that way. And so lecithin, it repaired nerve damage, Lecithin, lecithin. Where can you find lecithin? They put it in just a pill by itself. It's loaded in bee pollen, the most potent food on the planet. And this is the most potent bee pollen on the planet. It's got like all the varieties of bee pollen there is. We want you to have some. You can give me a call. I'll get it out to you. Where is lecithin? In the egg yolk. That's where it is. Cage-free. Yeah, we want some cage-free eggs. And we want this yolk to not be fully cooked. It's repairing the brain. And it was interesting. She brought up the point that, see, as children, you can repair. Up to age 12, the brain, it'll repair itself. If you have any psychological disorders, it'll repair itself. And why wouldn't we believe it couldn't do it beyond that if we just gave the body the foods that it needed? Okay, all right. Now, if you got any DNA damage, we're going to use resveratrol, R-E-S. Do your homework on this one. 10 years of research went on at Harvard University to find out that we could live to be 125, 150 years old. We wouldn't want to be that old lying in a bed somewhere. We're talking about let's get it on. We could be doing things, you know. My mom at 98, 98 and a half. Yeah, she had a boyfriend. Yeah, of course. It's called Genesis. Resveratrol. Well, circulation.
That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. Dr. Scott, this circular flow.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we got it. So, hey, what are we doing for you tomorrow? We're doing what? Ashwagandha, yay.
And the circular flow.
Okay, I got the girlfriend. Here, we need to, you know, sometimes our diet is missing something, and you gotta have the best of the best, little multivitamin sometimes. You can sneak it in the smoothie. You know, you could just say, hey, look, I'm gonna make my baby the best smoothie ever, and I'm gonna take the vitamin and put it right in the blender. Right. You won't even know. Stick some, if he likes, put his fresh best fruit in there or the color he likes. Like my best taste is the Concord grape juice. So there's our green balance. Here's the sea buffalo. You know, anytime something looks like it's not going right in your body, omega-7, okay? And we got this now. Oh my goodness, this is my favorite best. And I wish you were here to help me finish my raw apple pie. It's the raw apple pie. But look, you know what this one is all about? It's called Critter Getter. Parasites. So the parasites are behind all diseases, okay? So there's a doctor from Canada, Hulda, Hulda, Hulda Clark. She put in years and years of research. She wrote books, The Cure for Cancer, The Cure for All Cancers, The Cure for Advanced Diseases, or All Diseases, Cure for HIV. She just wrote, in that book, The Cure for Cancer, she put the number 5. It takes 5 days to cure cancer. Whoa, really? The US government, FDA, said take that 5 out of there. And then she changed it to it takes only days to kill cancer. And you take the rest of the time to repair. Well, parasites is the reason you could kill those worms and parasites in 5 days. And then you spend your time with it. So the parasites leave your gut and they're everywhere. They will eat up your food, eat up your nutrition. You're hungry, you're just grabbing. And they'll say, hey, look, we need some sugar down here. We need some candy down here. Send us some good stuff. And so if you could kill the parasites, then you could have all your nutrition for you. And so you just want to look at So the best ideal diet is if you're going to eat protein, 2-3 green vegetables, and you always want to eat something raw. But if there's parasites in there, chances are they put holes in your colon and go all over your body. And they cause all of the stuff. Leaky gut is the beginning of all diseases. And these parasites go everywhere. I say kill the parasites first, get all your nutrients and feed your body and eat the right food, eat those greens. And so what's in this little kit? Oh my goodness. It's got this crazy little directions here. And you've got to go through here, wormwood combination, cloves. Oh wait, here's more cloves and here's more wormwood. Oh, why? Because you gotta kill the worms and then you gotta kill those eggs. And we got this little walnut green, the green walnut tincture. We're gonna get them. So it's a huge thing to kill parasites now. To just clean your colon, not enough. We're cleaning you want to clean your blood, yes. You want to make all the repairs, yes, but you've got to have a superfood, lots of nutrition, and you don't want to give it to guess who came to dinner, those parasites and worms. And to get yourself to start to eat vegetables, it's better to kill these guys so you don't even crave all that sugar and starch. Because a lot of people that love the sugar and the starch and the pizza and all of that stuff, we can't get them to eat the vegetables. So the best thing to do is let's start killing these guys. And now we can wake up. And let's take a good superfoods. What kind of superfoods we have out here? We got the vitamin real pretty, we got flaxseed, and yes, we've got bee pollen loaded with brain food, lecithin to repair the brain, food to make sure everything, and to repair that DNA damage, RNA damage too, if you put your humic, which is dirt, super dirt, and we've loaded, we've got plenty of that here for you. So questions? Yes.
You're putting that bee pollen like a smoothie. Is that what you were saying?
Yes. I took this bee pollen and I, at my mom's age of 98, in this bottle right here, I would put 4 tablespoons in here. And you could bet that she could walk up Stone Mountain halfway up. I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't push her to go all the way up because you're going almost straight up. I would just put 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons, 4 tablespoons, fill it up with water. It would dissolve. You keep it in the refrigerator. They say if you drop you on an island, see, this is a total whole, the most potent food on the planet. And so then they say if they drop you off on an island and drop you off bee pollen and water, when they come back, it's like, whoa, we're going to be afraid of you. You're talking about some gorgeous. You will be that because it's going to balance you out, repair stuff. Yes. And so, and it will dissolve.
Okay.
And so, superfood. Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Scott. We so appreciate you as always. This list is growing like crazy.
Yeah.
Now we got to get the parasites out of there.
You got to. You got to do more than a little cleanse, cleaning your colon out. Right. You got to go out because these bad boys, they waiting. You know, when you find a little tumor, a little cyst, it's parasites. And then they have a nerve to poop inside of your body.
Right.
And you weren't even the best pooper to begin with.
Right.
And so we got to really get to cleaning these bodies.
I agree.
Okay.
Don't share your nutrition. Because we need it. We need it to grow beautiful eyelashes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We need it. They don't need it. Kill them. So today, I think I got about 20 of these babies in.
My name is on what? My name is on 3.
I'll pack them up. I'm
Come
gonna
on,
pack it up.
back my stuff up. Yes.
I'm gonna pack it up right now. You better make sure. I got new phones, so I don't know if you're this phone or that phone. I saved everything over here, but just send me your address
Okay.
just in case.
And if you guys need some of this stuff, we'll have all of it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
so anybody
absolutely.
that's watching, if you want
Yes.
some of this stuff,
Yeah,
Yeah.
just reach out.
yeah,
reach out.
yes.
There's nothing, everybody, see, the newest cleanse is not the Daniel's fast, or it's not fasting on water. It's not this intermittent fast. It's kill those worms.
Right.
Mhm.
Never want cancer, diabetes, worms, high blood pressure, worms.
Got it.
Worms is behind all of it. Get rid of it. If you snore, you have worms.
Okay.
If you have hypertension, you've got worms.
Mhm.
You've got arthritis, you got worms. So let's get rid of the worms. And there's a special little worm that likes to go to the brain. It's called special X. No, we don't need any worms.
Right.
So we want super good food. So intentionally, I eat clean, I eat organic, I eat superfoods because we want to be healthy for a lifetime. You don't want to be craving if you say, I'm so hungry, I need to eat something. You better know you've got some worms. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
As always, thank you, Jennifer, for being our guest. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Yes.
We so appreciate your time. Obviously, we have Dr. Scott's information. We'll also have Jennifer's as well, contact information as well, so that you can learn more about the disorder. Thank you again. See you next month.
Yeah, see you
for
next
the
month.
second week of the month. The
Second Wednesday.
of the month.
Second Wednesday of the month.
I hope you guys enjoyed this information.
Yes, and we will put on the site the information for Jennifer as well, her organization. So you'll find that on the What We Know Now Facebook page.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
Renee.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Bye.
Tune in next week, same time, same place.